you're not going to get there anyway, so it doesn't matter. Another Shove Shark. Shove Shark reigns supreme. Dude, does this kill the Sparky? That would be ridiculous. No way! Dude, that guy is pissed. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's Sunday night, and of course that means viewer games post-patch clarity. We're going to be looking at some post-patch games, hopefully. There's at least one in here that I think maybe we did last week. We'll see. If it's broken, we're just going to skip it because I did a whole video of that, and it didn't go very well. So I did want to let people know a few things at the start. Of course, I am part of the content affiliate program, and that means that the Phobies team does, in fact, give me coffee for producing Phobies content, such as these viewer games, including, that's where I got that 88K coffee total, and I bring that up because, sorry, there's a bunch of stuff going on. I was getting distracted. I bring it up because there was a number of people who have messaged me, either hit me up in the YouTube comments or otherwise, asking, how do I get coffee? How do I join the content affiliate program? How do I do that stuff? Here's your answer. Ask the devs. Like that's literally the answer. You get the coffee from being in the program and consistently producing content. There are a bunch of rules and restrictions and requirements and things like that. And all the information is with the devs. Got to talk to them. I can't help you. Honestly, like I can direct you there, but that's about it. What I can direct you to is my Discord, and the reason for that is if you're interested in getting your own games featured on this stream, the live stream, and then, of course, the YouTube video, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. The link, of course, for that is in the description. Well, it'll be up there or down there, whatever. It'll be in the description of this video, so check that out, and you can get your 15 seconds of fame. It's not really 15 minutes. If your game takes 15 minutes, there's something wrong. I realize there's a bunch of crap in the corner over there. We're going to be getting some work done down here. So next weekend, this coming weekend, is going to be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But let me pull up the old game list. So like I said, we're going to check out this first one. If it is, in fact, busted, we'll skip it. And it's looking like it is busted. Because this one's labeled as from the 29th, so the patch officially broke it. Let's see. Yep. So that one's broken. I'm pretty sure we had that in the last video anyway, so we'll move on. We don't have many dupes tonight. We don't have a ton of games. That's all right. Let's see what we got. Let's turn that down a little bit. Noobsim is our first hero. Quick game coming up. All right, noobsim here on Pluto. The game is pretty boring. At the 11th move, my move, pause and try to guess what phobia I spawned. The last answer is the correct one. Is the answer you spawned 0 phobies? Because that would actually be a pretty funny troll. Guess what phobia I spawned? You just straight up didn't spawn one. That'd be adorable. But yeah, we're post-patch now. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. I'm curious what people's thoughts on the patch are. I should have said this at the beginning, but I'll say this now as we're waiting for the quote-unquote boring game. That's what the submitter said. Not my words. Ooh, we get the newly nerfed Innocuous. So, I did have some interest in reviving Monster of the Week. Now, I did speak to the devs, and this has been an ongoing issue. Monster Week was kind of giving out too much coffee. So, the frequency of the event is going to change, and since we've struggled with population before, what I think the plan is going to be is I'm going to wait a little bit, get more people, and we're going to launch like a monthly event. I'm still looking at running arena over async, and I'll explain why in a second. We're going to lead up to the 11th turn here. All right, so we have 10 keys. Literally could be any phobia in the game. I don't think we're going to go so far as trolling with, like, bad sushi. I don't think we're going to go that far. But is it... I'm gonna guess it's not one of the nerfed phobies. It's not one of the nerfed phobies. Blinky. I don't know. I was trying to think of, like, what's a random-ass phobia that is simultaneously, like, completely normal? You know, like, if Ginsting wasn't on the board, I would have said Ginsting, because it would have been funny. Boo Fairy! That absolutely would not have been the last phobia I would have named. Wait, time out. You spawned 2 phobies. You spawned 2 phobies. That's cheating. You can't say guess the phobia when you spawn 2. Because no matter which one I said, even if I said Boo Fairy or Daisy, I would have got it wrong. You would have said it's the other one. You're a cheater, noobsim. Savage. Unrestrained. Uncontrolled. Undeniable. Cheater. But anyway, the point I was making earlier is I'm probably going to move to like a monthly event. I think Arena still. I just got to figure out a good time zone to do it in, that I can do it and other people can do it. Like, maybe I run it. The problem is I can't run it during my streams because it is very late for Europe and Asia, which is where I think a lot of players reside. But if I run it early, it's like, this is the problem. When I ran it early in the morning for the US, that was apparently not a good time for Europe and Asia. So, like, I'm kind of at a loss here. Ooh, that's a good Noxious hit. Not great for our hero. I imagine they would not have invaded like this if they would not be able to tank at all. I'm open to suggestions. I'm also trying to come up with a new name. Since it won't be weekly, I'm not going to call it Monster of the Week. I mean, we could call it Monster of the Month, but that feels a little lame. Already had Fright Night, so it doesn't have to be tied to, like, the interval or anything like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But right now, yeah, if you're interested in tournaments, let me know down in the comments. Join up in the Discord, because that's where we orchestrate everything. What I think I'm going to try and do organizationally is run the event in the main Phobies Discord, or rather advertise the event there. I'll send all the details for the devs to post, links to the rules, links to sign up, link to all that stuff, and then everything will be run in my Discords. That way I can control it a little bit better. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going through and doing all the insane stuff I used to, because it was just an enormous amount of work, and that's why I don't want to do it as async. I know there will be more people who are interested in async, but the fact of the matter is that it's a disaster just managing it. And what ends up happening is you don't end up having an event, because, like, people will only play a third of the games they're supposed to, not even half. And then, like, nobody really does anything. It's just a waste of time. So, at least with Arena, people don't show up, like, or they do show up, like, you can get it all done in an afternoon. Alright, first one in the books. Yeah, nothing really to speak of from that game. I don't know why we were playing the guessing game, but noobsim wanted to play Guess the Phobie. I guessed incorrectly, and like I said, no matter what, I wouldn't have got it right. There's like 200 phobies. There's no way I would have got it right. Ooh. Nuclrardeath, going up a beanofevil. Nuclrardeath, our hero. Nuclrardeath. Phantom is still busted. Also, I missed a chance to secure a strong positional advantage on my 3rd turn, the turn I summoned Phantom. In case any viewers want to find it. It's a small adjustment, but I like how much these plays matter in Phobies. I agree. That is one of the big draws to me for Phobies, is that it does. So, Karst and I have debated this a little bit offline in my Discord, specifically the idea that Phobies is a pick-counter-pick game, which I do agree with. However, I don't think that's... I feel as though I lean into more... There are plays to be made with the Phobies positionally, like utilizing the assets once they're on the board, as compared to what Karst is suggesting. It feels like Karst is indicating that there's less... Like, it still matters, but not as much. I'm going to pause this when we get to this. All right, so... Positional advantage. That could have happened. If Phantom were down here... Do I need my Telestrator. I guess we kind of do. So if Phantom were here... What? Are you not red? So Phantom went here. You can go here and plop somebody in. Right on there, but you could do that anyway. I don't know what this spot is. What is that? I think maybe if you have this up, there's a... this can't pull thanks to the nerf this turn. But if you had this up, then maybe there. I'm curious what the positional error is here. I mean, this goes back to, like I said, what I like about Phobies. Maybe break this block? I mean, with the sock assing going down, unless you're considering flinging the sock assing into their team, but you can't do that. Like, you still have a longer warm-up, so it's not Phantom related. I mean, you could have double moved Phantom, so like if you would put it where the cassowary is now, could have done nothing. I'm curious what this positional error is. The cassowary jars the follow-up. Oh, we're gonna get a break? Yep, there's a break. Is that a dead creepy devil? That's a good snipe. Is that a great snipe? Oh, that's actually adorable. I love that. That is really cute, because now... I was about to say I don't love Brute Worst. I do love Brute Worst. I didn't love the positioning on the Gravedigger. You're trading Creepy Devil for Gravedigger, which isn't bad, inherently. But the safety pull was actually really sweet. I like that. I can appreciate that one. Triple panic point advantage. I do love the body block here. This is a really aggressive line, and I love this. Now, we are going to see probably a big poison, or excuse me, disease from Brute Worst here. 3 Phobies. Gravedigger's going to die. But it's a triple panic point advantage, and I don't think there's any way for Bean to easily clear the Phantom. So you can shell the heart. You can send Daisy in. Obviously, Cassowary is going to be able to clobber the heart. Droney coming in to ease the pressure here. Oh, this is going to result in a quick 3 cap once again. This is one of the better plays I've seen on this map. This map kind of felt very... It was kind of boring. But I like where this is looking. Triple panic point advantage. I do also love the positioning on Daisy here. That prevents the Brute Worst from getting a double hit. Could you have just killed the heart, though, if you'd moved in and hit? Like, if you moved in and hit 882... Probably not, and the Cassowary would have died this turn. Although I don't know that it matters either way, to be honest. Tickle's going to kill the bones. Cassowary going to die. You are protecting the heart, but it's still a panic point advantage. And Jar is still very, very much in range. Very well played. I'm curious what the positional error was on the other turn, because it's not jumping out to me. It's not jumping out to me. Well done. Very well played. I think I'm going to put Brute Worst on the thumbnail for now. It's either Brute Worst or it's going to be Daisy. It always feels weird to put, like, bad guys Phobie on the thumbnail, but Brute Worst is hilarious, so... Whoop, just dropped my headphone case. That's what I was playing with in case people were wondering what the snapping noise was. So we go... I hate it when people do this. You played against the same person on the same day, on the same map. Like, what am I supposed to do? All right, the notes give this one away. All right. The notes do give this one away. We go from Bean being the bad guy to Bean, now our hero. We're on Scopoceum. Bean versus Potenzia. Super close Smiley versus Smiley match, making use of the new buffed paddles. Honestly, I didn't think the buff to paddles was going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference. But it seems like it's going to. I got a weird, like, pinching pain in my thumb. Diabetes. I do like Scopoceum. I think this map is underrated among the general map consensus. Chad, I've been playing a lot of Monster Train 2. I'm very, very close to buying a Steam Deck so I can play more Monster Train 2 on the go. I have a trip coming up in July, so I kind of want to do that. Trying to justify to myself that it's not worth doing that, but I may end up doing it. I also really have been enjoying Look Outside. I will do a review once I finish that game. I definitely want to play through that game more offline. The Steam Deck wouldn't simply be for Monster Train 2, it would be to also play more Look Outside. It would also be to play more Urtuk, which I never completed that playthrough that we did on stream. It's still languishing. I've never actually finished that game. Speaking of unfinished, we have this game. See? The whole thing was a segue so we can stall for times until the interesting things happen up here. That is a werewolf on the heart. Classic condition, speak to your cardiologist. You don't want a werewolf on the heart. Admittedly, that guy did bring this on themselves. They did run out there with a fire ant. What is it you hate most about fun? Apparently it's Phobies having mobility. I think the fire ant only moved once, so we're looking at a trap either on the lava tile or the panic point. Getting a couple more pot shots, a few more pot shots in on the heart. A little bit of pressure. We got Mario and Luigi on the board. And the standoff ensues. The Noxious will allow for... I mean, both players have Noxious. But Potenzia's positioning is a little bit better here to try and push. However, this Hematic has been able to sneak around and now garner a 3-to-1 panic point advantage. The pressure is on. The Death Ball now has to kind of split up. And here comes the paddles. So there's the paddles. Let's see what it does. Is paddles our new overlord? Do we welcome our new paddles overlord? That's aggressive. Admittedly, I guess you could stem the Gin Sting? Excuse me, but then it's going to be vulnerable to Spider. You kind of just have to retreat from this position as being, I think. However... Wait, 1, 2, 3. There isn't a great Noxious hit, because the 3 that's over here, one's a mech. So, like, that's not thrilling. But Potentia is opening themselves up to a lot of chip damage here. Ooh, we are going for... Can you kill this? That's on a lava tile. Is that dead? No way. Wow, the pick on the Noxious. I didn't think it was going to die. I didn't think it was vulnerable to death there, but... We likely get a trade here on the Noxious. Noxious for Noxious. However, Potentia is not in a great spot here because you do still have Werewolf and Hematic Gin Sting breathing down your neck. Klepto there to punish the death balling. Again, there's probably a trap laying around where Moffat is right now. There's got to be at least 2 traps on the board. Ooh, there's a Smiley. So we did hear in the notes that it's a smiley off. How are people feeling about Smiley right now? I know there were a lot of complaints for a long time. But given that there were other problems, we'll see if the Smiley wailing sees a resurgence. I think Bean is trading pretty well, but both teams are still pretty even, especially if this werewolf goes down. There's still 5 keys left for Potenzia. Uh-oh, there is one of the traps. Werewolf does have a ton of HP at this stage, but it is going to get diseased. Doesn't look like it's going to die outright. And I think it powers down this turn, doesn't it? If it does, that would explain the cupcake. Well, you can body block it out. So there is the disease. Everything is bunched, so this could hypothetically be a great Klepto setup. Quick pick on the snowball there. That's interesting. Actually disabling one of their own panic points thanks to the Charon, but that clears the path for everything to advance through the fire, at least temporarily. It's interesting that we're picking the Bachelor instead of pushing damage onto the Smiley. That Smiley does need to die at some point. But how the turntable, the panic point's now in favor of bad guy. I don't love bad guys' positioning throughout this game. It just feels like they're constantly opening themselves up to these... Okay. At least they pulled the Charon back. I was going to say, it's like you're constantly opening yourself up to these stim pad plays. And it's like, baby, what is you doing? So, if Paddles lands on Smiley, it could go to the Fire Ant? Is that what we're doing? That has to be the priority over the Charon, right? Yep. So, the difference between this and Shove Shark right now would be that Charon could have gotten involved to help kill the Smiley if it was Shove Sharked, because it would have ended up one space to the right. Like, in the space between where it is now and Hevo. I don't think it would have died, so I don't know that this was a dramatic difference compared to what it could have been. And now we're playing keep away from opponent's Smiley, I guess. But Disease did land on the Fire Ant, so that thing's days are numbered. Well, Cupcake... What's the Fire Ant? Huh. Fire Ant plus Cupcake plus Stim. Apparently equals 900 damage onto the Jin Sting. That guy is cooked. We're going to get some splash from the Klepto. Paddles can, of course, put some work in on the opposing Smiley. We're going to have to pull Jin Sting in, but it's going to be vulnerable to the opposing Smiley. Unless Charon's going to be the answer. Nope, we're going to reposition. Interesting. So 3-1 panic point advantage, pulling back to the heart. I wonder if this Jin Sting's going for an end around on the heart. Nah, too much health right now. Still too much health. Hevo and Fire Ant diving deep. They need to make something happen. Klepto gonna live. Probably gonna burn down, I assume, the Hevo. Because the Fire Ant will die on its own eventually, and given the positioning by our hero, it seems like they're not interested in engaging this particular juncture. All right, Charon. All right. Takedown there on Ted. The juiced up Charon. Again, would Shove Shark have been able to do the same thing here? Possibly. This was a very methodical setup by being able to kind of drag bad guy around the map and force an advantageous position, both for the phobie fights as well as letting this disease tick. Charon takes down Charon. But how are we killing Smiley? With bees! Not quite enough. Not enough bees yet. Oh no. I mean, this is dead to disease, and then this is gonna get cooked. There goes the trap. And then there goes bad guy. GG, well played. Interesting. I gotta think about this one. Like I said, I don't know that Shove Shark couldn't have done what Paddles did there. The positioning, like where you can move, changes, obviously, like what the options are, but I don't know. It didn't feel like... I mean, it's good to see Paddles, don't get me wrong. It's good to see Paddles. It just got buffed. That's a positive. But I don't know that it was dramatically different than if you had used one of the other phobies. And I wasn't paying super close attention to the cooldown timers in between. It seemed like there were enough turns that Shove Shark would have been able to do it. Excuse me, but maybe that's not true. All right, next up is dearh. We're here on Billy's room with a longer game, comparatively, at least the first couple. Bro tried to use Toad on me, but things didn't work out as he expected. So the question is, which Toad? Is it Boggart? Is it Mistletoad? Is it... We've been seeing a lot of Mistletoad. Maybe not a lot, but I guess comparatively a lot. You know what I was thinking earlier, chat, when I had mentioned that I was considering getting a Steam Deck. And offline, I was thinking, like, I wonder what Phobies things are available offline. Like, I'm not a huge fan of bots or playing against bots, but I do think that, like, if I'm stuck on a 5-hour plane ride and I had the option to play Phobies against a competent high-level bot, I think there would be some value in that. I think that would be engaging and interesting. Assuming the bot was good enough, right? Like, it all comes down to, is the bot meaningfully challenging? And I think something that should be available is not just the difficulty level of the bot, but you should also be able to change the level of the bot's phobies. Little attractor. We've seen 2 attractors tonight already. 3 attractors? At least 2, and we saw an Inoculus as well. So it is Mistletoad is the answer. I'm a little surprised we're seeing so many attractors and Shove Shark. Really? What year is this? There's a little Mistletoad action. Honestly, Mistletoad on the 1-drops? Not terrible. Not terrible. You know what ability we don't have in Phobies? We don't have, like, a taunt. We have a lot of things that deny you attacking things or encourage you not to, so, like, hexy, stabby, that sort of thing. I mean, to a degree, dimensional damage. But we don't have a taunt. We have Wuffalo. Do we have a taunt? I don't think there's anything that forces you to attack. We also don't have, like, an entangle. So we have, I can't think of the Phobies name right now. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Ooh, traps got him. Yikes. But rusty, like, the stop, so you can't move. But we don't have an entangle where it stops, like, both Phobies. So picture, like, a snake or vines or something like that. Ooh, Shove Shark to get the pick on the jar. Well played. Bad guy with 8 keys banked. First is Tickles. The other 7 are Sparky. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one, Chief. Alright, people are pinging me in Discord. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Chat, Gears of War. The remake for Gears of War 1 is coming out soon. And apparently somebody in my Discord posted that there's going to be, like, a Steam Deck Xbox. I'm very excited about that. That would actually be sick. If it is comparable enough that I could play Gears of War on it, I'm excited about that. Am I going to sell my... Like, if I buy a Steam Deck, am I going to sell it for that? Probably not. I'd probably just get a an actual Xbox console, but we'll see. Because my Xbox console is from legit launch. So, that thing is old at this point. It is barely... It is not even on its last legs. It's like on its last stumps. So this Mistletoe activated once. What is happening? Alright, we're setting up the snipe onto... Can you one-shot this? 1,011... No? Yeah, you're gonna be just short. Unless I'm counting wrong. You're not gonna get there anyway, so it doesn't matter. Another Shove Shark. Shove Shark reigns supreme. Dude, does this kill the Sparky? That would be ridiculous. No way! Dude, that guy is pissed. That guy is pissed. That was actually really sick. I love that play. We got some really cool plays tonight. We got some cool plays tonight. Wasn't Klopster on the to be nerfed list? Did he get adjusted in the patch? I legitimately don't remember. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bad guy activated Mistletoe once. Well, I guess technically twice on that stabby, but... Mistletoe's not that good. GG. You were dead like 9 different ways. Alright, we got a second dearh game, and then we had a game that was added, like, literally as the countdown was going. I saw it pop up as I was loading things. Oh god. Desolation Row. We have a 31-turn game. I feel like we've only watched games on this map, like, twice. This might be the second one. But the notes are Disease Shower. That sounds gross. I don't know what else to say about that, but we do have an ash. So what's good, chat? How's everybody doing out there? Hope your weekend went well. As we're leading into the summer, I'm not looking forward to streaming and having to turn the camera off all the time because I'm sweating to death, and like, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it. It's just too damn hot. Thankfully, right now, it's not too bad, but the humidity is going to get there. Motherload? First of all, why was the opener Ash into Maggie Cassowary? What is happening? Like, Puff, alright, that's reasonable, but I think it's just Maggie. Maggie is what's throwing me off, and, well, Maggie and Ash, so two things. Half the phobies that our hero put on the board are confusing me. Panic point advantage. There's like, why are there so many panic points? 2, 4, 6, 7 panic points. That's a lot of panic points. And the number of the counting shall be 3. Or in this case, 7. Alright, creep to deter the Maggie from coming in. That's fine, I guess. Or the cassowary, for that matter. Are we going to send Puff to the north? Interesting. I feel like you didn't need to set them up this way. Like, you could have sniped the cowbell differently, but either way, your opponent's... Why didn't they attack? Okay, they're going to double move. I was going to say, like, they could have attacked if they're only going to move one space to avoid the, or one movement action to avoid the Ray Chargels. Panic point advantage once again in our hero's corner. And a sizable one at that. Bad Omen coming out. This is a weird map. Very Colosseum-esque, like we've had on, you know, ton of maps at this point. Trying to focus the attention in this center area. I don't love... I don't remember talking about this map before, to be honest. I don't love the panic point position. It's probably better than most other maps, but it does feel like you could put a 3-ranger on there and then control a huge amount of space. Your opponent can... Here's the thing, like, even if you do that, your opponent can stage. So, like, if you put somebody here, you go 1, 2, 3, and it's like this triangle, which is fine, but it's entirely possible that your opponent can stage here and then invade. And, like, is that good enough? Probably. Like, I think it seems like it might be feasible to just build up a force and then get in there. Speaking of building up forces, we have Boss. We get countered by Smiley. Air quotes, countered. 10 keys to 14 remaining. And Bad Guy still has a lot of keys. But there is a 5-2 panic point advantage. So, like, alright, we get the Blom into the You're Fired. Unable to hit the heart with it. Not that it could lay the fire underneath, but you could get the splash. Cooking the creep. Notably no poison coming out because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... only 6 phobies, so our hero could put a healer on the board. I don't... Does Honey Bear matter at this point? Like, they already used the You're Fired. No mechs for our hero, though, so how are we killing the Smiley? Yeah, I was going to say, as long as you have the flyers up here, you can kind of guard all the panic points. The thing is that if you... Okay, we're going to go Rusty. I don't hate that. because it frees up the slot immediately after use. The problem is that this smiley can just go to the center tile. And if you lock it there, you still have a 4-3 panic point advantage, so you are still pressuring. But you still have to find a way to deal with the smiley. You do have lanes above and below it to try and get around to collapse on their team, but it's not great. You're going to have this weird conga line of phobies that are desperately Ooh, are you going to steal the smiley? You know what's funny is you could actually use Ash. Although I think you should have used Ash already. I guess you wait as long as you can to use the ability, but I think using Ash to get the Wuffalo into position faster would be better. Bad guy in shambles. You know what's funny? The next game, the notes are funny Wuffalo game. So, like, is Wuffalo the next one to go on the nerf list? I don't think so, but what do you say, chat? All right, softening up Wuffalo. Oh, we're just going in. We're going for it. Bad guy knows the writing's on the wall. You're not really going to do this, are you? Bad guy. Yeah, they're setting up a nice little cubby hole for Smiley to go in. And perfect timing. The Rusty wore off. Solid power down. 3 phobie hit. Not repositioning for the Blom, though. Double hit probably makes more sense. Get the You're fired. Cooking just about everything. Good God. Bad guy still has 10 keys, though. Big honey bear puke there. Shutting off the fire. Turning off the panic point as well. This is the second Onion Boy we've seen tonight. Not a fan. Second Onion Boy. I understand the joke, onion, ogre, that sort of thing. They're not going to name it literally Shrek. But ogre does feel like it's a super generic name. I don't know that I can think of a better one. Also, has this Ash done anything? 4 phobies diseased for, Oh, man, you never want to be in this position. Why are you even... Okay, real talk. Why are you even attacking the Smiley? Your stuff is already diseased. Why kill your own Smiley? Like, what is the advantage? All your stuff is already diseased. Who cares? I don't get it. Bad guy in honest to God, how does this go on for 4 more turns? Does bad guy, like, run? Yeah, they run. Why? You cannot win this. There is no reality short of your opponent having a stroke. Or, like, the cat eating the Ethernet cable. Or, like, there's just no world where you do that. Oh, you even get the snipe on the boom. Bad guy, please, please, please just walk your team into hero. We know they don't, because there's too many turns. Like, what are we doing here? Why did you puke on that anyway? What different? Oh my god. Why? Why are we doing this? Honestly, I'm telling you, you will get more points by pseudo-surrendering this game by sending your team in and saving yourself the 2 minutes that it took so you can queue up and get into another game. That is way more efficient. Notably, the game does not immediately end when this happens. Personally, I think it should. But I guess that would present a weird checkmate scenario where, like, if you have a melee phobie that can't one-shot Waffalo, and it's that versus, like, your melee versus Waffalo, you're in this weird checkmate scenario where you can never go near it because you just immediately lose. Which, if that happens, I don't care. Let the Waffalo player win. GG. I think I'd be fine with the Waffalo player just winning in that situation. Like, I just don't see a need. Alright, last game of the evening, chat. We've got a Dama game. Haven't seen Dama in some time. Dama did make a resurgence because, like I said, Monster of the Week potentially coming back, probably under a new name. What do we got? Oh my god. Everybody wants to submit long-ass games post-patch. Apparently, funny Waffalo game. We'll see what we got here on Never or Ever. As well as we're going to see what's going on. Okay. Just getting pings in Discord. All right. Definitely had some interesting games post-patch. I don't necessarily feel that... I don't necessarily feel that the games were directly influenced. Well, they were directly influenced by the patch. Like, we had the Paddles game, for example. But I don't think that they were dramatically different than what they could have been pre-patch in a lot of scenarios. I mean, we saw Tractor and Shove Shark doing mean things. We saw Phantom doing funny things. They were definitely modified compared to what could have happened pre-patch, but it didn't feel as though, you know, like the Paddles game, there was a Paddles usage, and then like 5 turns later, there was another Paddles usage. Okay, that could have happened anyway. I'm not trying to say that the patch didn't do anything or anything like that, but I think more the jury's still out. Personally, I think that, and I said this in my videos, that the changes from the patch are more impactful due to a philosophical change than any particular actual balance change. Do the balance changes matter? Yes, but the philosophical change of how they're going to be assessing things, and I'll be honest, I need to see 2 patches in a row, ideally more than that, but like 2 patches in a row of them bringing this new philosophy online where the community identifies things, the devs corroborate it through whatever methodology, they propose a change, and it gets implemented with the input and feedback of selected community members, because I don't want just mob rule in the changes, because I'm seeing this in other contexts and other games, and I have for many years, but it is very easy to be like, I play Phobies. I don't have, like, I may dislike a phobia, or I dislike a strategy, or dislike a map, or whatever. Or I may be completely, you know, I'm indifferent about it. But the complaining about it constantly then influences the opinions, even if it is a relatively vocal minority, or even the majority that wants X. But X isn't necessarily good as well. It's just a different bad. Or it is actually worse and people don't recognize why. Or it's going to cause these other problems or whatever. And I want to let game devs do their job. Like, let game devs be game devs. So I do want community opinions and influence. It is important. But, for example, like Marvel Rivals had stuff that was in the news, air quotes, not long ago. Other games have done similar. That creepy devil didn't even snipe this oopsie baby. Okay, there we go. It had 2 attacks. All right. Does it die? So creepy devil's going to sacrifice its life thanks to, yep. It's a pretty cool setup, but 9 keys to 9 keys remaining. Bad guy does have a pretty good position here. There's the Waffalo. The community changes are all well and good, but there's a reason that they are part of the community and they are not game devs. And I'm not saying game devs on a given game, but like, not everyone in the world is a good game dev. And that includes some game devs. So we get a Yeti. Really? Okay. I mean, this body blocks out the Yeti. But presumably you can just kill the corn and then freeze Waffalo? What? That doesn't seem right. I was going to say that's a heads-up play by bad guy, but they are killing their own Phobie. Oh my god, this is 2 games in a row where this happened. At least this one was more plausible. The other one, there was like 0 point in killing the Smiley. Chat, what if the next muffin reduces cooldowns? We have a heal muffin. We have a stim pad muffin. It also heals. What if there's a third muffin that heals and reduces cooldowns? Broken, right? It's gotta be broken. If we get a second Waffalo activation, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Honestly, it's looking like we might get to a second Waffalo activate. No, you 100... Okay, we're gonna body block. I was gonna say, you're gonna freeze, right? This was a very weird game with respect to... the movement tiles. I don't think anything you do from here matters, bad guy. Like, our hero is just going to be able to pick you apart. You only have 1 relevant phobie. There are 3 on our hero's side. I mean, technically, the Finnegan matters, but it's just going to die. We just pick them apart. Wow, it lives? Okay, that's not good. That's not what you want to see. Corn has got to be dead. So we might end up Waffalo capturing the Finnegan. Okay, never mind. Because that would be funny, and then you push one of their phobies into the pit. That would actually be great. Dude, how is this corn not dead? I feel like it was hit like 80,000 times. Oop. Please tell me you heart rush with the Waffalo. That would be hysterical. I don't think you could because... Alright, so you kill that, then what, you boop the Yeti? Oh no, you can't do it this turn. It would have been funnier to see Waffalo heart rush, but Yeti would have gotten there to body block. Or just freeze it or whatever. Oop. Pin him in the corner. Nobody puts Yeti in the corner. Except Dama, apparently. 4-1 panic point advantage. You're not fighting out of this. GG, Yeti. Yeah, why not? GG! That was pretty funny. We'll call that funny. GG. Alright, chat. That's going to do it for all the viewer games for this evening. Definitely some interesting ones. We've got some funny ones. I'm looking forward to see what other things people are cooking up with the new patch. Like I said, let me know down in the comments what you think of the patch, what you think is coming down the pipeline, because we are going to get some phobies in the future. We're going to get some more updates. There is still technically time, I guess, to get the summer update. I'm very curious to see if we will get one, or if this patch in between what was the anniversary and what would have been the summer update, did this replace both of them? We'll see. But like I said, that's going to do it for this time. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time for more Random Thoughts.